I had imagined this night 100 times in my head. The candlelight, the soft music, the look in her eyes when I'd ask the question. It was supposed to be perfect. When the waiter placed the last dish on our table, I cleared my throat and reached for the small box in my pocket. My palms were sweating. "Ava," I said, my voice trembling. "There's something I've been meaning to ask you." She smiled, her eyes glowing under the soft lights. "You're acting strange tonight. What's going on?" I laughed nervously. "You'll see." I stood up, walked around to her side, and knelt. Her smile froze. "Ava Morgan," I said softly, my chest tightening. "You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. I can't imagine a future without you. Will you marry me?" The restaurant seemed to go silent. I waited for her to cry, to smile, to say yes. Instead, she looked at me like I'd just made a mistake. "Ethan," she whispered, glancing around. "Get up, please." "Ava." My voice cracked. She sighed, eyes darting away. "You're sweet. You really are. But I can't marry potential." For a moment, I didn't understand. "What?" She leaned back, whispering quickly. "You're hardworking, Ethan, but love isn't enough. You're still struggling with rent, your job's unstable, and, God, you can't even afford this restaurant, can you?" Her words hit harder than I could take. I felt heat rise to my face, shame mixing with heartbreak. "I thought you believed in me," I said quietly. "I did," she said, her voice softening. "But belief doesn't build a life. I want security. I want stability. I can't keep waiting for you to make it." The box slipped from my hand, landing on the floor with a dull thud. A few people stared. I wanted the ground to swallow me. "So that's it?" I said, forcing a laugh. "After everything, you're walking away because I don't have enough money?" Her eyes glistened. "Please don't make this harder. I don't want to hurt you." "You already did." I stood, heart pounding. "You didn't even look at the ring." "I can't," she whispered, standing too. "You'll find someone who matches your heart, Ethan. But I need someone who can match my dreams." I stared at her, memorizing her face one last time. "And I was your mistake, right?" She hesitated. "No. Just, not my forever." I smiled bitterly. "Thank you for being honest." I walked out before she could see my tears. Outside, the city lights blurred. My chest felt hollow. I wanted to scream, to run, to erase everything that led me here. When I reached my apartment, I threw the ring on the table and collapsed on the couch. My phone buzzed. "Sophia." "Ethan." "How did it go?" she asked, voice full of excitement. I couldn't speak. Only silence. "Ethan. Are you there?" She said no, I muttered. "What? Why?" She said she can't marry potential. My voice cracked. "Guess I wasn't enough." "Ethan," her voice softened. "She doesn't deserve you. You've worked so hard for her." "I worked hard because of her," I interrupted. "Everything I did was for her." "You can't let this destroy you," Sophia said. "Promise me you won't." I stared at the ceiling. I don't know what to promise anymore. There was silence on the line. Then she whispered, "I love you, big brother. We'll get through this. Together." After she hung up, I sat in the dark, listening to the hum of the refrigerator. Every corner of the room reminded me of Ava, her laughter, her perfume, the way she used to call me, dreamer. Now I hated that word. I walked over to the window and looked down at the street. People passed by, laughing, holding hands. Life didn't stop for anyone. Not even for broken hearts. My phone lit up again, Ava's message. "I hope you understand someday. I didn't mean to hurt you. Please take care of yourself. I stared at the text for a long time before deleting it. No, Ava, I whispered. You meant every word. The rain began to fall, tapping against the window. I stood there, letting the city lights blur through the water. My reflection looked like a stranger. I grabbed the ring box from the table and opened it. The diamond sparkled, mocking me. I laughed bitterly. You're perfect for someone else now. Then I closed the box and shoved it into a drawer. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard her voice, calm, certain, final. I can't marry potential. At some point, the tears stopped. My chest still hurt, but a strange quiet filled me. Maybe this was what rock bottom felt like. I looked at my reflection again and whispered, I'll change. Not for her. For me. For the first time, I meant it. I didn't eat much after that night. Coffee and silence became my routine. Days passed, but every one of them felt the same, gray, heavy, empty. At work, I sat in front of my computer, staring at lines of code that made no sense anymore. My boss, Mark, called me into his office one morning. Ethan, you look like hell, he said. Everything okay? I nodded. Just tired. He sighed, rubbing his forehead. Look, the company's cutting costs. Some positions are being removed. You've been a good employee, but I'm one of them, I finished for him. He hesitated. I'm sorry. It's not personal. I forced a smile. Nothing ever is, right? Packing my things took less than 5 minutes. No one looked up as I walked out. Outside, the city felt colder than usual. That evening, I sat in my apartment, surrounded by silence. My phone buzzed, it was Sophia. Ethan. You sound awful lately. Have you eaten? I'm fine, I lied. You're not, she said firmly. You've been like a ghost. Please, come over for dinner. I can't, I whispered. Not tonight. She sighed softly. Then at least promise me you'll try tomorrow. Yeah. Tomorrow. But I didn't mean it. After she hung up, I found myself scrolling through old photos, me and Ava at the park, our first trip, her smile pressed against my shoulder. I hated that I still missed her. By midnight, something inside me snapped. I grabbed my jacket and walked out, not caring where I was going. My feet led me to her neighborhood. When I saw the familiar lights of her apartment building, my chest tightened. I stood outside her door for a full minute before knocking. The door opened, and there she was. She looked surprised, then uneasy. Ethan. What are you doing here? I just wanted to talk, I said quietly. One last time. Ethan, it's late. I know. My voice shook. Please, Ava. Just a few minutes. She hesitated, then stepped aside. Fine. Make it quick. The place looked different, new furniture, fancy decor. The scent of her perfume mixed with something expensive, something that didn't belong to the girl I used to know. Before I could speak, a deep voice came from the hallway. Babe? Who's at the door? A tall man walked out, shirt unbuttoned halfway. He looked me over with a smirk. Liam Carter, he said, extending a hand I didn't take. You must be Ethan. I froze. So this is him. Ava stepped closer to Liam, her eyes avoiding mine. Ethan was just leaving. I laughed bitterly. Of course I was. I guess this explains everything. Liam chuckled. Don't take it personally, man. The world's about choices. She just made hers. Don't, I said sharply, glaring at him. He shrugged. Relax. No hard feelings. I turned to Ava. You moved on fast. She folded her arms. I told you what I wanted. Security. Stability. Liam can give me that. Money, I said. That's what you wanted. Her expression hardened. Don't twist my words. I just got tired of dreaming, Ethan. I needed something real. I was real, I said, my voice low. Everything I felt for you was real. She sighed. Love doesn't pay the bills. You'll understand someday. The words sliced through me like a blade. I nodded slowly. You're right. Someday I will. I turned toward the door. My legs felt heavy, but I forced myself to walk. Ethan, she called softly. Don't hate me. I stopped. For a moment, I almost looked back. Then I said, I don't hate you, Ava. I hate who I became trying to be enough for you. And then I left. The night air stung my face. I walked aimlessly until my feet gave up, collapsing onto a park bench. My reflection in a nearby puddle looked hollow, lost. I whispered to no one, it's over. A gust of wind blew through the trees, scattering dry leaves around me. Maybe that was what I needed, to be broken apart before I could start again. When I got home, I looked at myself in the mirror. The man staring back wasn't me anymore. His eyes were colder, sharper. That version of me is dead, I said aloud. Ethan Cole, the weak one, he's gone. And in that silence, I made my first choice. I didn't know how, but I would rebuild myself from the ashes. Not to prove her wrong, just to feel alive again. The days after Ava felt like walking through fog. I didn't know what I was doing or where I was going. My phone rang one evening, it was Clara. Ethan, it's been a month. You're disappearing. I'm fine, I muttered. You're not, she said sharply. You sound like a ghost. Meet me tomorrow, no excuses. I didn't argue. Maybe because I didn't have the strength to. The next day, I found her sitting at a small cafe downtown, tapping her fingers against a coffee cup. Her smile was soft but steady. You look terrible, she said. Thanks, I muttered, sinking into the seat across from her. I mean it, she said. You've lost weight. Your eyes look dead. What happened to the guy who used to tell me he'd change the world? He died, I said quietly. Then I guess I'll bring him back, she replied, leaning forward. Ethan, you can start again. I laughed bitterly. With what? I've got no job, no plan, no one who believes in me. I do, she said simply. I looked up. Why? Because I've seen what you're capable of. You were never afraid to dream. You just forgot how. Her words cut deeper than she knew. For a moment, I couldn't speak. What if I fail again? I asked. Then fail differently, she said. Fail forward. I stared at her. You make it sound easy. It's not, she said. But I know someone who can help. Mr. Bennett, he used to run a big tech firm before retiring. He mentors young people who need direction. I frowned. He doesn't know me. He doesn't have to, she said, standing. He just has to see you try. That's how I met Mr. Bennett. His office smelled like old books and black coffee. He was in his 60s, gray-haired, with sharp eyes that seemed to read everything I wasn't saying. So, he said, looking up from my resume, you used to code? Still do, I said. Just not, professionally right now. He nodded. And why did you stop? I hesitated. Life got messy. He smiled faintly. Life always is. The question is, do you want to fix the mess or live in it? I took a deep breath. I want to fix it. Good, he said, handing me a notebook. Then start here. Learn, fail, repeat. Don't chase money. Chase mastery. For the first time in months, I felt something stir inside me, motivation. From that day, I threw myself into work. I spent my mornings helping Mr. Bennett with small tech projects and my nights coding until my eyes burned. One evening, Clara called. Still alive? Barely, I said, laughing for the first time in forever. Mr. Bennett makes me redo every line of code twice. I think he enjoys watching me suffer. He's teaching you, she said. That's how he shows he cares. Yeah, I said, leaning back in my chair. It's strange. I feel different. How? I don't know, I said softly. Like maybe I'm becoming someone else. Someone stronger. You always were, she said. You just forgot. I smiled. Thanks, Clara. For not giving up on me. Don't thank me yet, she said. Just keep going. Weeks turned into months. My days blended into a rhythm of work and learning. Every mistake became a lesson. Every failure hurt, but it also built me. Sometimes I'd catch my reflection in the office window and barely recognize myself. My eyes looked sharper, my back straighter. The sadness was still there, but it was quieter now, contained, not consuming. One evening, as I wrapped up a project, Mr. Bennett walked in. You've changed, he said. Hopefully for the better, I replied. For the wiser, he corrected. Pain either breaks a man or builds him. You seem to be choosing the second. I smiled. Guess I finally learned something useful. He chuckled. Good. Because I have bigger plans for you. Ever thought of starting your own company? The word startled me. My own. Why not, he said. You have the brains, the drive, and now the scars. That's all a leader really needs. After he left, I sat there for a long time, staring at the city lights outside the window. For the first time in years, I didn't feel small. I called Clara. You won't believe what he just said. She laughed. Try me. He thinks I should start my own company. Well, she said, maybe it's time the world saw what I already see. I smiled. Maybe it is. That night, I closed my laptop, looked at my reflection, and whispered, I'm still here. And for the first time in years, I actually believed it. When I launched ColeTech, I had no idea what I was getting into. I just knew I couldn't keep living as someone who once almost made something of himself. ColeTech. Clara raised an eyebrow when I told her. That's the name. I grinned. Simple. Easy to remember. Besides, it's mine. She smiled faintly. Then make sure people remember it for the right reasons. That first year was chaos, late nights, empty pizza boxes, endless lines of code, and meetings with people who barely believed in me. But one person always did. Mr. Bennett stopped by the office every week. How's my favorite headache doing, he'd say, peering at the jumble of screens. Barely holding it together, I'd mutter, eyes glued to the code. He chuckled. Good. Chaos is a sign of progress. Sometimes I wondered how he could be so calm when everything felt like it could collapse at any moment. One night, after a 12-hour stretch, I slumped back in my chair. We're never going to make it, I said to Clara, who was reviewing our pitch deck. Yes, we are, she said firmly. You're just too tired to see it. Every investor I talk to wants something different. No one believes in a startup focused purely on encryption tech. Then show them why they should, she said. You've always been better with proof than promises. I stared at her, then nodded slowly. All right. Let's build something that speaks louder than a pitch. We did. Weeks turned into months, and somehow, through the exhaustion and caffeine, ColeTech started to work. Our encryption system didn't just store data securely, it learned how to adapt to threats. It was clean, fast, and unlike anything else in the market. When our first investor signed, I remember standing in front of the office window, heart pounding. "We did it," I whispered. Clara smiled. "Told you so." Mr. Bennett arrived that afternoon, his eyes shining with pride. "You're no longer surviving, Ethan," he said. "You're leading." I laughed. "Feels unreal." "It should," he said. "That's how you know it's real." From there, everything changed fast. Investors flooded in. Our office expanded. By the time I turned 30, ColeTech was valued in the millions. Reporters started calling me the comeback story of the decade. I didn't feel like a comeback. I felt like someone who'd finally stopped running. One day, I took my mother to see her new house. She stood at the front door, tears in her eyes. "Ethan, it's beautiful," she whispered. "You deserve it," I said. "After everything you've done for me." She hugged me tightly. "Your father would have been proud." I swallowed hard. "I hope so." Later that week, I paid Sophia's last semester tuition in full. When she called, she was crying. "You didn't have to," she said. "I wanted to," I replied. "You're the smartest one in the family. Go prove it." Her laughter through the phone made something in me unclench. For the first time in years, I felt light. But at night, when the world went quiet, I still saw her face. Ava. Standing in the rain, eyes cold, words sharp enough to break bone. "I don't love you anymore, Ethan." It played in my head like a loop I couldn't delete. One night, I found myself sitting in my office long after everyone had left. The city lights flickered outside, painting shadows across the room. Clara called. "You're still there, aren't you?" "Yeah," I said. "Just thinking." "About her?" she asked gently. I hesitated. "Sometimes." "Ethan, you don't need revenge," she said. "You already won." "I don't want revenge," I said. "I just want peace." She was silent for a moment. "Then stop reopening old wounds." "It's not that simple," I murmured. She was the reason I started all this. Every sleepless night, every risk, I was trying to prove something. But now that I've done it, I still feel empty. Clara sighed. "Then maybe proving yourself isn't the same as healing." Her words hit harder than I wanted to admit. I leaned back in my chair. "Do you ever feel like success just hides the pain instead of fixing it?" "All the time," she said softly. "But the trick is not letting it define you." I closed my eyes. I thought I'd moved on. But every milestone, every win, I keep wondering if she'd be proud. Or jealous. Or if she even remembers me at all. "Ethan," she said, her voice calm but firm, "she's the past. Don't drag her into your future." "I'm trying," I whispered. "I really am." After we hung up, I stared at my reflection in the glass wall. The man staring back looked successful, tailored suit, confident posture, but his eyes told another story. I'd built an empire. But inside, I was still that man standing in the rain, waiting for someone who'd already walked away. Mr. Bennett's words echoed in my head the next morning, "You're leading now." But leading didn't mean healing. And deep down, I knew that no matter how high I climbed, I'd never be free of that ghost, not until I faced it. I just didn't know that fate was already preparing a way for me to do exactly that. The moment I stepped into the ballroom, I felt it, old ghost stirring beneath polished chandeliers. The air hummed with soft jazz and expensive perfume, but my focus shattered the instant I saw her. Ava. She stood near the stage, champagne glass in hand, her laughter too rehearsed, her posture too stiff. Liam Carter was beside her, same slick smile, same arrogance that money breeds. My chest tightened for a split second, but I straightened my tie and walked in anyway. I wasn't that man anymore. When our eyes met, her smile faltered. "Ethan," she whispered, disbelief flickering across her face. I smiled politely. "Good to see you again, Ava." Liam turned, smirking. "Well, look who it is. The famous Ethan Cole. You're the guy she almost married, right? Small world." I chuckled lightly. "Smaller than you think." Ava looked like she wanted the floor to open up. "Liam," she murmured, "that's enough." But he ignored her. "I've heard your company's doing well. ColeTech, right? Data something?" "Data security," I said evenly. "We make sure people's secrets stay safe." His grin faltered for a second. "Right. Must be quite profitable." "Enough to fund tonight's event," I said. "ColeTech is one of the sponsors." Ava's eyes widened. "You're the sponsor?" "Among others," I said, taking a slow sip of my drink. "We like to support causes that remind us of second chances." There was a silence, sharp, uncomfortable. She broke it first. "You look different." "I should hope so," I said with a faint smile. "Time has a way of changing people." Liam excused himself to greet someone across the room. The moment he left, Ava's shoulders sagged. "Ethan," she said softly, "I didn't know you'd be here." "That makes two of us," I said. She set her glass down, her voice trembling. "You look successful. I always knew you would be." I raised an eyebrow. "Did you?" Her gaze dropped. "I was wrong that night. About everything. You didn't deserve." "Don't," I said gently. "We were both different people back then." She looked at me, searching for anger, but there was none left to find. Only calm. "Do you hate me?" she asked. I thought about it, really thought about it. The rain, the rejection, the sleepless nights, all the pain that had built the man I'd become. "No," I said finally. "You helped me find out who I really was. That's not something I can hate you for." She blinked rapidly, holding back tears. "Liam's not what I thought he'd be." I smiled faintly. "He's what you chose." Her voice cracked. "I thought love wasn't enough. I thought stability mattered more. And now?" She hesitated. "Now I realize love was the stability I needed." For a brief moment, I saw the girl I used to know, the one who dreamed with me under streetlights, who believed in forever before life taught us fear. "I'm happy for you, Ava," I said softly. She looked at me like I'd just told her a lie. "You don't mean that." "I do," I replied. "Because happiness doesn't always mean getting what we want. Sometimes it's about letting go of what broke us." Her lips parted as if to say something, but Liam returned, placing a possessive hand on her waist. "Everything all right here?" he asked, his tone clipped. "Perfect," I said with a smile that didn't reach my eyes. "Ava and I were just catching up." He nodded stiffly. "Good. I'm sure she has fond memories." "She does," I said. "We both learned a lot from the past." As I turned to leave, Ava's voice stopped me. "Ethan, wait." I looked back. Her eyes shimmered under the ballroom lights. "Do you ever miss what we had?" I held her gaze for a long second, then smiled. "No. I remember it, though. And that's enough." She looked away, biting her lip, as if holding back years of regret. I walked toward the exit, my step steady, my heart silent. For the first time, there was no ache, no bitterness, just peace. Outside, the city lights glimmered like fragments of the past I'd finally released. I exhaled slowly, feeling the weight lift. Clara's words echoed in my mind, "You don't need revenge, you already won." She was right. Karma didn't need my help. It had already started its work. And tonight, under the glittering lights of that ballroom, I'd finally buried the ghost of Ava beneath calm, unshakable silence. The whispers started quietly, the kind that float through boardrooms and dinner parties like smoke. Liam Carter's empire was crumbling. Fraud investigations, unpaid investors, shady contracts, it was all coming out. I didn't care. Or at least, that's what I told myself. But every time I saw Ava at charity events or tech galas, she looked different. Thinner. Quieter. The sparkle she once flaunted had dulled into exhaustion. One evening, Clara caught me staring across the ballroom. "Don't get involved," she said firmly. "Whatever's happening to them, it's not your problem." I sighed. "I'm not involved. I'm just curious." She gave me that knowing look. "Curiosity is just emotion wearing a mask, Ethan. Don't take it off." I forced a smile. "You sound like Mr. Bennett." "I learned from the best," she said softly, then walked away, leaving me alone with my restless thoughts. 2 weeks later, Liam requested a meeting. My assistant hesitated before forwarding the message. I stared at the name for a long moment before replying, "Fine." 1 hour. When I entered the conference room, Liam was already there, pacing. His suit was wrinkled, his tie loose, eyes ringed with fatigue. "Ethan," he said, forcing a smile. "Thanks for coming, man. I wasn't sure you'd say yes." "I almost didn't," I replied, taking a seat. "What's this about?" He sank into the chair opposite me. "I'll be straight with you. My company's hit a rough patch. Investors are pulling out, and I'm running out of time." "Rumors say it's more than a rough patch," I said. "They say the SEC's breathing down your neck." He flinched. "They're exaggerating. Look, I know you've got the capital, the reach, the tech. We could collaborate. Merge some of our systems. It'd help both of us." I leaned back, studying him. "You mean it'd help you?" He tried to laugh, but it came out hollow. "You've got to admit, it'd be quite a story. The man Ava didn't marry saving her husband's company." I stared at him, my voice quiet. "You think this is about Ava?" His jaw tightened. "Isn't it?" I let the silence hang until he started to fidget. "No," I said finally. "This is about business. And from where I stand, partnering with you would sink mine." He slammed a hand on the table. "You think you're untouchable now?" "No," I said calmly. "Just smart enough not to repeat old mistakes." His face flushed red. "You're making a big mistake, Ethan. When this turns around, you'll regret it." "I doubt that." I stood, buttoning my jacket. "I don't make deals with desperation. You should know that." As I turned toward the door, I heard a familiar voice behind me. "Ethan, wait." Ava stood there, dressed in beige silk, her face pale but still painfully beautiful. For a second, I almost didn't recognize her. There was no confidence, no control, just quiet pleading in her eyes. "Can we talk?" she asked softly. Liam muttered something under his breath and stormed out, slamming the door. I sighed. "You shouldn't be here." "I had to be," she said. "He's falling apart, Ethan. Everything he built is collapsing." I didn't know who else to turn to. I crossed my arms. "You shouldn't turn to me. You made your choice." Her voice trembled. I didn't know what I was choosing back then. I looked at her, the weight of old memories pressing against my chest. "Yes, you did. You chose security over love. Money over faith. Him over me." Tears filled her eyes. "I thought I was being practical. I thought you'd never make it." I smiled faintly. "And now you see I did." She reached out, her fingers brushing the air between us. "You've changed," she whispered. "I had to," I said. "Pain does that." Her lip quivered. "And me?" I met her gaze, steady and unflinching. You've changed too. Not for the better. For a long moment, we just stood there, two ghosts of a life that never happened. I didn't come here to hurt you, she said. I just wanted you to know I'm sorry. I know, I said. And I forgive you. But forgiveness isn't the same as coming back. Her tears fell freely now, quiet and unguarded. You really don't feel anything anymore, do you? I paused, searching myself. Then I shook my head. No. I don't. When I left that room, the sound of her sobs followed me down the hallway like an echo of the past refusing to die. Outside, the city was alive with noise and light, but inside me, there was only stillness. Not revenge. Not victory. Just peace, the kind that comes when you finally stop bleeding. And as I walked toward my car, I realized that sometimes karma doesn't roar. Sometimes it whispers, softly, patiently, until it's all that's left to hear. The headline hit every screen before noon: Liam Carter's company declares bankruptcy amid fraud allegations. I stared at it for a long time, the words blurring until they stopped feeling real. For a moment, I almost pitied him. Almost. By evening, the city buzzed with the news. People whispered in corners, exchanging rumors like currency. I'd spent years being the subject of gossip once, I knew exactly how cruel those whispers could be. I was packing up to leave the office when the knock came. It was hesitant, almost fragile. Come in, I said, expecting an intern. But it was her. Ava. Her once glossy hair was dull, her makeup gone. The woman who once glowed under chandeliers now stood before me in wrinkled clothes, hands shaking as she clutched her purse. For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. The air between us felt heavy, like the silence before a storm. Ethan, her voice cracked. I didn't know where else to go. I leaned back in my chair. You found the address easily enough. She winced, stepping closer. I know I don't deserve to be here. But everything's gone. Liam, he's disappeared. He left me with nothing. I folded my arms. I heard. I made a mistake, she whispered, tears brimming. I thought I was choosing stability, but I ended up with lies. You were the only one who ever told me the truth. That truth didn't matter much to you back then. I was scared, she said, voice trembling. Everyone said you'd never make it. That you'd fail. I gave a dry laugh. Guess everyone was wrong. She took a deep breath. I never stopped loving you. Those words hit harder than I expected. For a second, my chest tightened, the ghost of old emotions stirring. But then the memories came back, of nights I waited for her calls that never came, of watching her hand in hand with him at every event. I stopped waiting for you, I said quietly. The moment you chose someone else. A tear slipped down her cheek. I was foolish. I thought I could fix things later, once everything settled. People aren't investments, Ava. You can't walk away and expect them to stay the same until you're ready. She took a step closer. Ethan, please. I don't want your money. I just need someone who remembers who I used to be. I looked at her, really looked at her. Beneath the exhaustion, I saw the same woman who once dreamed of building something real. But the light that once drew me in was gone. You're chasing ghosts, I said softly. And I'm not one of them. She broke down then, sobs shaking her shoulders as she sank into the chair across from me. I wanted to comfort her, but my hands stayed on the desk. You have no idea how much I regret leaving, she said between sobs. Every night, I replay it all. You, me, everything we had. I used to do that too, I admitted. But at some point, I had to stop torturing myself. You can't live in the past forever. I thought you'd hate me. I did. For a while. I exhaled slowly. But hate takes energy. Eventually, I just stopped needing you. She looked up at me, eyes wide and wet. So that's it? You're just going to walk away? I already did, Ava, I said, standing. A long time ago. Her sobs grew louder as I reached for my coat. Is there anything I can do to make you forgive me? She whispered. Forgiveness isn't the problem, I said, pausing at the door. You want me to erase what happened? I can't. I stepped outside, the hallway lights dim and quiet. Behind me, I heard her crying, soft, broken, almost like a song. A sad one I didn't want to hear anymore. As I walked toward the elevator, my reflection in the glass door caught my eye. For the first time, I didn't see the man she'd left behind. I saw the man who survived it. And this time, I didn't look back. Clara had seen me at my worst, when I was rebuilding, when the world seemed eager to remind me of what I'd lost. Yet she never flinched. She stood beside me, calm and steady, while I learned to breathe again. Are you sure you want to go? She asked one morning as we packed for yet another trip. Yeah, I said, folding a shirt into my bag. I need a change of scenery. Maybe we both do. She smiled faintly. You and your fresh starts. You've had more of those than anyone I know. I chuckled. Guess I like reinventing myself. We spent months on the road, first for business, then simply because we wanted to see what else the world held. Meetings turned into adventures, and layovers became chances to breathe between deadlines. Somewhere between airports and city skylines, something shifted in me. It happened quietly. No grand revelation. Just moments, her laughter in a cafe in Lisbon, her hand brushing mine during a storm in Tokyo, the way she listened without trying to fix me. One evening, we stood on a rooftop in Seoul. The city stretched below us, neon and alive. I leaned on the railing, watching the cars flicker like veins of light. It's strange, I said. I used to think winning meant having more than everyone else. More money, more recognition, more revenge. She glanced at me. And now? Now I just want peace. Clara tilted her head, smiling. You know, you never lost, Ethan. You just took the longer road to win. Her words hung in the air, soft but heavy. I looked at her, really looked, and felt something uncoil inside me. For the first time, I said quietly, I think you might be right. She grinned. Of course I'm right. I'm always right. I laughed, shaking my head. You've got confidence, I'll give you that. Not confidence, she said, leaning closer. Faith. There's a difference. I let that sink in. For years, I'd chased validation, from Ava, from success, from the people who doubted me. But Clara never demanded proof. She just believed. When we flew back home weeks later, I walked into my office and felt lighter. The walls that once echoed with ambition now felt calm, lived in. My reflection in the glass didn't look like a man running anymore. Clara dropped her bag beside my desk. You're quiet, she said. That's either good or dangerous. Just thinking. About her? I hesitated. Maybe. But it's different now. She leaned against the desk. Different how? I used to replay every mistake, every word I said to Ava. I wanted closure. But now, I think I already got it, just not the way I expected. Clara crossed her arms. You let go. Yeah. I exhaled. I stopped carrying her ghost around. The pain, it's not gone, but it's not heavy anymore. She smiled softly. That's what healing looks like, you know. Not forgetting, just remembering without bleeding. Her words lingered. I turned toward the window, the sunset painting gold across the skyline. It took me a long time to understand that success isn't about proving anyone wrong. It's about proving to myself that I can rise again. Clara walked over and stood beside me, So what now, Mr. Redemption? I smirked. Now. I think I finally start living for me. She nudged my shoulder. About time. I laughed, genuinely this time. It felt good. Real. As the city lights flickered on, I realized how far I'd come, from heartbreak and anger to something softer, steadier. Ava was a memory now, one I didn't hate, just respected for what it taught me. She'd shown me how easily love could be mistaken for dependence, how pain could become purpose if I let it. And Clara, she showed me what quiet strength looked like. When we left the office that night, she slipped her hand into mine. No drama, no declarations. Just peace. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was chasing anything. I'd already arrived. The day had been quiet, deceptively calm, until the church doors creaked open. My mother's funeral was drawing to an end, mourners drifting outside into the soft gray afternoon. I stood beside the grave, listening to my own heartbeat echo in the emptiness. Then I heard it. A soft, hesitant shuffle behind me. Ethan. I turned, my chest tightening before I even saw her face. Ava. She looked small, fragile, her designer clothes replaced by plain black. Tears streaked down her cheeks. For a moment, the wind seemed to stop. I need to speak to you, she stammered. I didn't answer. I just stared, my fingers clutching the edge of my mother's casket. I know I don't deserve, her voice broke. I know I've lost the right to be in your life. But please, please let me start over. I'll do anything, Ethan. Anything. I swallowed, my throat tight. Anything? I asked quietly. Do you even know what that word meant when you walked away all those years ago? She dropped to her knees in front of me. I was wrong, Ethan. I never stopped thinking about you. I was foolish, blind. I want to make it right. I want you back. I'll work for it, I'll prove myself, just give me a chance. I felt the old ache stir, the one that had haunted me for years. For a brief, impossible second, I saw the girl I once loved, the one who dreamed with me on rainy nights, who laughed at my terrible jokes, who whispered promises she didn't keep. But that girl was gone. I'm sorry, Ava, I whispered, my voice steady, controlled. I'm sorry you didn't recognize what you had until it was gone. Her hands shook as she reached for me. Ethan, please. Don't walk away. I can't. I can't live without you. I took a step back. You didn't live with me when it mattered. You wanted gold when I offered love. Now, you have neither. Her lips trembled. You can't mean that. I do. I looked at her, really looked, and for the first time in years, I felt nothing but clarity. You wanted security, status, everything I wasn't. And I gave you the truth, my heart, my life, and you chose someone else. That's not my mistake, it's yours. Tears fell freely, her sobs raw and desperate. Ethan, please. I'm begging you. Don't do this. Let me fix it. I'll be different. I swear I'll. You can't fix what you broke, I said firmly. You can't undo the years of choices you made. You can't reclaim a love that isn't yours anymore. She fell silent, her body shaking, face pressed into her hands. The wind carried her cries across the cemetery, sharp and jagged, but I didn't flinch. I didn't feel the old pull of guilt, of longing, of hope. I took one final look at her, kneeling, broken, begging. The girl I loved once was only a memory now. The woman before me was a stranger, someone who had made her bed and was paying the price. I hope you learn from this, Ava, I said quietly. But I can't be a part of your lessons. Not anymore. I turned away, feeling the weight lift with each step. The flowers, the mourners, the city beyond, it all faded into the periphery. My focus was only forward. Her sobs followed me out of the church, echoing like a sad song I no longer wanted to hear. For the first time, I felt entirely free. Free from regret, free from heartbreak, free from the ghost of Ava. And as I walked toward the car, the air felt lighter. The pain I'd carried for years was finally gone, replaced by the quiet strength I had fought so hard to earn. I didn't look back. The lights were blinding as I stepped onto the stage, the audience a sea of faces blurred by emotion and spotlights. My hands shook, not from fear, but from the weight of the journey it had taken to get here. Clara squeezed my hand, her smile quiet but full of pride. "You ready?" she whispered. "As ready as I'll ever be," I said, taking a deep breath. The announcer's voice echoed across the hall. "And the Entrepreneur of the Year award goes to Ethan Cole." The applause hit me like a wave, warm and relentless. I walked to the podium, feeling every step as a reminder of every stumble, every rejection, every sleepless night that had led to this moment. "Thank you," I said into the microphone, my voice steady but full of emotion. "Thank you to everyone who believed in me, even when I doubted myself. And to those who didn't, I hope today shows that sometimes rejection is not the end. Sometimes it's the universe's way of pushing you toward your true destiny." A few chuckles and nods rippled through the audience. I glanced at Clara, who gave me a small thumbs up, and I allowed myself a brief smile. "You've all been part of my story," I continued. "Some of you were teachers, mentors, friends, others were obstacles, challenges, or reminders of what I wanted to become. Life has a way of showing you what really matters if you're willing to listen." I paused, letting the words settle in the room. "And sometimes," I said, my gaze drifting toward the empty seats in the balcony where my mother would have sat, "it takes losing someone, being rejected, or hitting rock bottom to truly find yourself. I stand here today not because I had it all, but because I refused to give up on myself." The applause swelled again. I stepped back from the podium for a moment, feeling the magnitude of it all. Years ago, I had been a man shattered by one refusal, one moment of heartbreak. Today, I was reborn, not in spite of that pain, but because of it. Clara leaned close and whispered, "You're incredible, Ethan. I'm so proud of you." I smiled at her, the warmth in her eyes grounding me. "I wouldn't be here without you," I admitted softly. From the corner of the stage, I spotted someone else, an old memory I had finally put to rest. Ava. She wasn't here to disrupt, to plead, or to haunt me. She was just gone, a chapter closed. And for the first time, I felt no anger, no longing, only peace. I turned back to the audience. This is not just my victory. It's a testament to resilience, to patience, and to the belief that even when doors close, windows can open. To anyone listening who's been hurt or rejected, your story is still being written. Don't let someone else's choices define your ending. The hall erupted in applause, the sound vibrating through me like a heartbeat. I held the award in my hands, feeling the weight of everything it represented: failures, late nights, endless work, and unshakable determination. Clara's hand found mine again, and I realized that this moment wasn't just about recognition. It was about survival, growth, and love, not the kind that demands or betrays, but the kind that supports and believes. After the ceremony, as the crowd filtered out, I stood alone for a moment, the award gleaming under the lights. I whispered to myself, I made it. I survived. I became who I was meant to be. And in that quiet, triumphant space, I felt it, a clarity I had never known. My past had shaped me, the pain had forged me, and the journey had led me here. Her chapter in my story had ended long ago, but mine was still being written. And for the first time, I felt truly reborn. I looked at Clara and smiled. Ready for the next chapter? She laughed softly. Always. I gripped her hand, feeling the future stretch out before me. Not haunted by the past, not chasing what was lost, but fully alive. This was more than success. This was freedom. This was me.